Hello and welcome to the United Stand. Sorry I'm about 2 or 3 minutes late, but welcome to the United Stand. I hope you're all doing very well on this Thursday evening. I certainly am. I'm very, very excited. I've been wanting to do this show for weeks and weeks and weeks. And finally, the reason I was late, I was just double checking there's no breaking silly transfer news that we need to talk about. I love the transfer news. I'm going to talk to you about Bale briefly in a minute, but there is no United transfer news for the first time in weeks. It won't last long. It's a little like the eye of the storm. It won't last long, but I've been wanting to do this for a long time. What will be Jose Mourinho's starting formation next season and starting 11? We've got a number of options to work through. I want you to give yours, but I've got 3 options for you, which you can all vote for. We're going to have a vote as well. But yes, I'm very, very happy. It would have been very easy to entitle another video, Perisic might come and Bale. And let's talk about that nonsense. I mean, it might happen, but as things stand at the moment, it is fantastic. It feels great to have had a good performance from United last night and talk about United's Premier League season, which starts in a week and a half's time, and actually start talking about some football. I love transfers, but it can get a bit monotonous, and we're having a rest from it tonight, which is great. So very positive. If you like football, which is what Manchester United play, I think you're going to love the show. Let's just talk about Bale, though. He is being mentioned more and more. I have always said to you all summer that, look, not really had any good information this summer, but Bale has been mentioned all over. Oh, you know, Bale to United's more possible than you think. Bale or Perisic? You could do a show on it. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow night. But as things stand, I want Perisic. Do I want Perisic over Bale? I think that's personally, I think that's naive. Look, if it's Bale or Perisic, you've got to surely go with Bale. He's the better player. He's the world superstar. He's Premier League proven. Yes, the injuries are a concern, but it's Gareth Bale. He's better than Perisic. And I know a lot about Perisic, but Bale is better than Perisic. But Perisic, is he injury prone? Is he as consistent? I don't know. There's talk of Bale because they think that Barcelona are going to get Coutinho and Dembele, so Madrid will get Mbappe. Obviously, Neymar's gone to PSG, so we'll wait and see. If Bale leaves, then United are front of the queue. Apparently, we haven't spoken to Inter about Perisic for 2 weeks, so as I said this morning, maybe we've just turned our attention off like Morata, and we're going to look elsewhere. But we'll see what happens with it. My live comment seems to have totally frozen, which is a bit of a shame. Let me get that back. Whilst I do that, let's fly into this then. So what I want to talk about tonight is Manchester United's starting 11 for the new season. What are Jose Mourinho's options? What will he go with? What's best for Manchester United? And what do I predict he'll go with? So, it's not my the happy birthday stuff starts again. Jefferson just says Bale over Perisic, but Perisic is good. Mark Zaga says, love the channel, love the people on the community. Man United fan from San Diego. Yeah, the community is fantastic. Remember to drop a like on the video. Bale, because he's the only English Galactico, says Anders Vogt. He's actually Welsh. The Welsh won't be happy with that. Jermaine says Bale won't go to Manchester United. Okay, well maybe we'll pick that up in a minute. But let's talk about Manchester United's starting 11. And I'm going to start off. I've got images. I've done my homework. This is Manchester United's lineup number 1 option. This is based around the formation that Mourinho has basically played throughout his time at Manchester United. It's what we won the Europa League with. It's a 4-3-3. You can see in the formation straight away that you've got De Gea, Bale, Lindelof, Darmian, Valencia. That's what I predict he would do. Matic would obviously sit in that position. Pogba and Herrera. Lingard obviously plays on the right. I think Lingard is his right-sided player. I think Rashford would play on the left. I know I would prefer Martial, but I think he would play Rashford there. And Lukaku up front. So what are the strengths of this formation? Well, I don't think we really saw the benefits of that formation last season, the 4-3-3, because a lot of the time we had Fellaini in it, which meant Pogba and Herrera had to do far more defensive work because they weren't getting the ball quick enough, which left our forwards isolated. Most of the time that was Zlatan, who had no pace anyway, which didn't exploit the best out of Pogba in the centre circle with the ball over the top, which you can do with Lukaku. So that formation, to judge it on last season, it would be very easy to say that this formation is the worst one that is on offer for Manchester United. But that's the wrong one. But the improvement may come from putting Matic in there, a player that Pogba and Herrera can trust more to sit and do the job, which would force Pogba closer to Lukaku, Herrera closer to Lukaku, which would bring Lingard and Rashford more into the game. We judge this formation on what we saw for the last 6 months of last season, which was a very static midfield and an isolated front three. even though 2 of them are wide. What we might see if he goes back to this formation again, which to be honest, I don't know what you think, but I think it's the most likely because it's the one he's used the most in the past. I think the potential positives with it are that you would see a better relationship between the attack and the midfield with Matic holding it, because you've got to bridge the gap. There was too much of a gap last season, especially towards the end of it, where we were defensively very good, but we weren't really creating much. So the 4-3-3 is the first option. Will Mourinho go with it? He may well do. He's used it in the past. It allows him to play Matic with Herrera and Pogba. It also brings Lingard into the team. I think the next 2 formations, or certainly the third formation, the 3-5-2, just to give you a hint, I don't see, there's not really a place in the team for Lingard. Lingard has to be wide. He's not going to play through the middle. I don't think he's really a wing back. So the 4-3-3 gives him the opportunity to play Lingard, which I just feel Mourinho is going to start Lingard. I think the hints have been there through pre-season. He played him a lot last season. And I think this is the formation where he can get Lingard in. And it's the formation that he's used the most. So the 4-3-3, what are your thoughts on it? Let me have a look. People are chucking out other options. We need 3-5-2, says Paul Robinson. Put Rashford on the right and Martial on the left, says Jay Ents. Well, of course, the problem with that, as I show you, if you put Rashford in where Lingard is and Martial where Rashford is, who comes on as a substitute striker if we need one? We've got them all on the pitch. You know, we don't have a substitute striker if we play Rashford, Martial and Lukaku. We are quite thin. Mkhitaryan in place of Lingard, says Shazwat. I disagree with that. I don't like Mkhitaryan out on the wing. I think we've seen the best out of Mkhitaryan as a number 10. So I'll come to the next team, and it's a bit of an adaptation, and he did play this formation against Manchester City in the first half. It's basically a play on the 4-4-2. Again, the same back four, Valencia, Bale, Lindelof, Darmian, De Gea in goal. Matic and Pogba. There's no Herrera in this team, which I know is going to cause a lot of problems to everybody, but bear with me. This formation was used against Manchester City, and it's sort of a way of bridging the gap between the midfield and the attack, and it worked really well in that first half against Man City in America. So you had Pogba and Herrera holding the midfield in that occasion. We've got Matic and Pogba in this occasion. Lingard again, it fits Lingard into the team, which I think is a positive for Mourinho. Rashford out on the left. Lukaku up front, but you've got Mkhitaryan in that free role behind Lukaku, between Matic and Pogba, the freedom to just get the ball, run at the back four. He's got Lingard running down the wing one side, Rashford the other, Lukaku ahead of him. Don't be surprised if we saw this formation. And I think that's the way that Manchester United really need to go this summer. We need to have adaptation, we need to be dynamic, we need to be flexible. And that formation, although it's probably, I'm not going to give my personal opinion to the end, but over the 4-3-3, I think I would prefer this. You sacrifice a midfielder. You sacrifice Herrera, because I don't think he's not going to play Matic and Pogba. But you get that number 10. You get Mkhitaryan. You get the freedom. And then you've got the width with Lingard and Rashford and Lukaku up front. And he has used this formation. So don't dismiss it. It has been used. But the problem with that formation there in front of you is to bring Mkhitaryan in, to have the width and to have the back four, you've got to get rid, or you've got to bench Herrera. Mr. Abeles says that formation is a little better. Yunus Ahmed saying he's 4-3-3. VK Dean says we need to drop Lingard. Don't worry, it's coming. Adam Stead, need Mata. I mean, to be honest with you, Mata doesn't feature in any of my teams at all. And I wouldn't. Some people are saying put Mata out on the right. To be honest with you, the positive about Lingard is over Mata on the wing is at least Lingard is a wide player, and at least he has got a little bit of pace. I mean, if you saw the game against Sampdoria last night, Mata came on with Fellaini and Carrick, and it was so slow. We were going backwards. I think Mata's got a great part to play this season, but is he in the starting 11 from the start? Pereira's not there. Mickey has to be number 10, says Cyan Monkey. Manchester United lack energy without Herrera, says Tyrone Williams. Well, to be honest, Tyrone, looking at that team in front of me there, when I was setting it up, you can only pick two midfielders in that formation, and I was like, I want to pick Herrera and Matic, but you can't drop Pogba. But then I was like, I don't want Pogba to play the number 10, that's got to be Mkhitaryan. So to play this formation, there would have to be big decisions made, as opposed to this previous one where you can play all three, but you lose Mkhitaryan. So it's, what do you want? Do you want the mid 3 or 3 of Herrera, Matic and Pogba, and we might have a gap between the attack and the midfield? Or do you sacrifice one of the midfielders, bring Mkhitaryan in at number 10? It's there. It's there to be decided, isn't it? And this is just three options I think Mourinho will go with, and he will go with one. Lingard is bad, not really. Fast, sell him, get a striker, says it's JRX. Do you think Mkhitaryan is good, says Nathan Eakins? I think Mkhitaryan had a very mixed season last year, and I think if we were talking about who's going to play on the right wing, Mkhitaryan or Mata, I think you could roll a dice and see who rolls the highest. I don't think you could split them. But I think when it comes to number 10, Mkhitaryan as a number 10, that's where you see the best of it. He could have had a hat-trick against Sampdoria last night. A hat-trick of headers as well. He's had a really good pre-season tour. He's got to find a way of getting Mkhitaryan into the team as far as I'm concerned. But that's just my opinion. And finally, formation 3. And I think this is probably the one most people would go with. For me, I would go with this. De Gea in goal, Bale, Lindelof and Blind at the moment is the 3. Obviously with Rojo back fit, then I would like to see Rojo as the left side of the 3. Darmian and Valencia at the moment. Again, if Darmian, I don't really think... I think we're playing almost lopsided at the moment. If you got Luke Shaw back fit, or you brought Perisic in, and you had them where Darmian is in that formation, suddenly that team goes from being decent to dangerous. We are so imbalanced down the left side compared to the right. It needs sorting out. Then you've got Matic in the midfield, centre circle, running the midfield. I mean, look, this formation just gives me goosebumps. It gets me excited. Not in that way, but it does get me excited because it feels like we've got extra players compared to, I mean, if I just show you, like, look at that and look at that. And that just looks like, are we going to create enough chances? I don't know. It's defensively okay, but then you go to that and you're like, bloody hell. How are we doing that? How can we have so many options and still have a very good back 5? And get the width in the team as well. So yeah, into the midfield, you've got Matic holding the midfield, you've got Pogba and Herrera together, then you've got Mkhitaryan as the number 10, then you've got Lukaku. And this is, for me, this is the way to go. I'm not totally convinced. I don't know what you lot think about whether Mourinho will go with this, but that's where I would go with the team. And I think Darmian out for Luke Shaw or a new signing would make it absolutely perfect, just with the clientele that we've got. We could go into next season in the Premier League and that's a team that could win the Premier League. I don't think it's good enough to win the Champions League. I don't think it's good to go and win loads of cups, but I think if you focused on the Premier League, that team with a good signing where Darmian is becomes a very, very big threat. And look at what's not there. Rashford's not there, Martial's not there, Mata's not there, Lingard's not there, Fellaini's not there. So, you know, you've got a decent bench as well, but realistically, that midfield 4, although Mkhitaryan's basically a support number 10. Pogba gets licensed to go forward. Mkhitaryan's got a free role. Lukaku's already up front. Matic and Herrera sort of running the midfield. A back 3 that allows Valencia to bomb forward, and that's the weakness with it. Darmian has got that license, freedom to get forward, but he's not good at getting forward. Could you play Martial there, says Marcus Nigord. I mean, I'd love to see Martial. I'd love to see Martial in there. I think Martial could play the Mkhitaryan role. I think, you know, if anyone thinks it's realistic that we could sign Gareth Bale could play that role. The great thing about this 3-5-2 for me is that it's, looking at it there, Griezmann, Bale, Belotti, any player in world football, Neymar, although I'm obviously not getting him, but you know what I mean? Any player in world football, you can find them a place in that team. You can easily find them a place. You know, Bale could play behind Lukaku. He could play. I don't think would really want to play the Darmian role, but Griezmann could play where Mkhitaryan is. You could buy Fabinho and find him a place. Nainggolan could find a place. Kroos. You know, there's so many people. Whereas I think that old formation of the 4-3-3 was very restrictive. I never really thought, where's Griezmann going to play in that 4-3-3? So for me, it's the 3-5-2, but it's down to you what you think and what you think Mourinho will go with. Personally, I think Mourinho will start the season with the 4-3-3. And that simply comes down to the fact that I think he wants Lingard in the team. And as we go back to that is a formation that Lingard doesn't fit into. You can't find a place for Lingard there because Valencia's got the right wing-back position. And has Lingard got the physicality to be a right wing-back? I don't think so. He certainly shouldn't be playing as the left wing-back. You wouldn't want him playing where Mkhitaryan is because Mkhitaryan's 10 times better than him. He certainly couldn't be any of the midfield three, and he can't play up front. So if you're Jesse Lingard and you like him like Mourinho does, that formation doesn't allow him to pick him. There is no way for it to happen. Martial could swap for Lukaku, says Ben Lloyd. Yep, thanks for the contribution, Ben. I agree with that. So this is the formation I would go with, but I don't think we'll go with it. I think he'll go with this because it gives him Lingard, it puts Rashford in the team, it gives him Matic, Herrera and Pogba, it gives him a back four, and obviously gets Lukaku in. I think this formation in front of you is the one that Jose Mourinho will go with. But personally, I would prefer this one. Although you'd have to probably lose Herrera, or even better, I would prefer the 3-5-2. I think that 3-5-2 will kill teams. And let's not forget, we are playing West Ham at home the first game of the season. If we played West Ham with a team like that, we could beat them 3 or 4-0. I think if we go with the 4-3-3, they'll know what to expect. They know what Manchester United play like. Jazz Mark says, what about Fellaini? Surely he will play every game. There can't be realistically a place for Fellaini in any of those formations. He certainly can't play on the wing. He can't play up front. In a 4-3-3, it has to be Herrera, Pogba and Matic, so there's no place for Fellaini there. Look, Fellaini should turn into, maybe in the 5-3, maybe in the 3-5-2, if you're chasing a win, or you're losing 1-0, you take Mkhitaryan off, you bring Fellaini on, in the number 10 position he used to play at Everton and do quite well. You mix it up. You start hitting the long ball to him on the edge of the box. He's got people like Pogba bombing forward, Lukaku alongside him. That's where Fellaini can be a threat for me. I just don't want... He should not be in the midfield. He should never be in the midfield. But in a 3-5-2, it actually gives you that opportunity, if you want to chuck Fellaini on up front, which is what I would do as the support striker. A good comment here from It's Me. He says, Zlatan will be so important. He's experienced and title will come. Of course... Added to this squad, we will have Luke Shaw back, we will have Rojo back, we will have Zlatan back. That's like 3 new signings coming up, hopefully. And, Ashley Young's got to get fit. Denijal Karamich says 4-1-2-1-2 with De Gea, Valencia, Bale, Lindelof, Shaw, Matic, Herrera, Pogba, Mickey, Lukaku and Martial. Rashford up top. 4-1-2-1-2. But where's your width? That's the problem with that, Denijal. It's a nice formation, but... Manchester United must have width, and where would you get your width with that? Good comment again as well. Jack Nolan, when Luke Shaw comes back, the 3-5-2 looks world class. It does. It looks a fantastic formation. As long as you sort the Darmian position out, and I think Perisic would have been in that position, which does make me feel quite sad because I think, he doesn't need to be a left back. He's a left wing back, and Valencia plays it so well as an ex-winger. I think Perisic could do it really, really well as well. But apparently we're not in for him anymore. I think we've tried our best. Sometimes you can't make these deals happen. Herrera is a must, says Nathan Rolfe. Shazwat says he prefers the 4-3-3 because we had no left wing attack in the previous game. I think the 4-3-3 can work, but it's a risk from last season. It was so static. And I think we will, also, let's there's a couple of things, Shazwat, thanks for that comment. But let's just go back to the 4-3-3. Now that formation, that 4-3-3 there, let's think about we're playing Man City away, or we're playing Liverpool away. That formation is a good formation. You've got the flat back four that provides you the cover. You've got 3 midfielders who can all graft, and then you've got Lukaku, Rashford, Lingard, or maybe you fit Martial in there. I would, but I don't know whether Jose would. And you got that pace on the attack. So that formation should be used next season. I totally agree with that. It's got to be used in the bigger games away from home. However, home games, that's the way to go. Surely you've got so many attacking options. You've got Valencia bombing down that right gulf. Get a left back in, or a left wing back who's better than Darmian. Mkhitaryan free, Lukaku on the back line, Pogba pushing forward, Matic holding it together, Herrera's tenacity and energy in the midfield. Lots of height in there for free kicks and everything like that. So yeah, we will have to mix it up around the formations. But that's what United should be doing, because if we just play 3-5-2, we become very predictable. But I want to see that. I want to see that start off as our formation, and I think. My only concern is I think Mourinho has done it in 3 occasions in the pre-season, which means he's obviously thinking about it, but I think Lingard is going to start games for Manchester United, and I don't see how Lingard fits into the 3-5-2 because he's a right-sided player. The only position you could think he could play would be right wing-back, and that's Valencia's. So I think we may start the season with the 4-3-3. I certainly think he'll play that formation against Real Madrid. But, you know, I think it's like many things in life, isn't it? Being a United fan, you always have something that you prefer that sometimes we don't get. And I think the 3-5-2 may just be a bit of a tease in the summer that we don't see. But I'd love to see it. Tyrone Williams says Fosu Mensah and Twansibi need to go out on loan as they're not being given a chance. And I think when you look at that lineup and you see the players that aren't there, Pereira, Mata, Carrick, Martial, there are a lot of players that aren't even in them teams that I'm throwing up for you. Where are Twansibi and Fosu Mensah going to fit in? I agree. I've been saying for a few weeks now, I want to see Fosu Mensah out on loan, building up some first team opportunity at a club in the Premier League, hopefully, because that'll, you know, that's what Pereira did, and it did him the world of good. Don't you think the problem with last year, everyone has to feed Zlatan and it prevents other players to take more chances and score, says John Hammond. Well, you know, I hope Zlatan does come back and give us an option. I don't want him to come back and play every week because it made us very limited, like you say there, John. And we certainly didn't have the ball over the top, which was frustrating. But there we go. Keep giving you comments on the formation. Drop a like on the video. I've been really looking forward to doing this for a long time. There isn't really any United transfer news to talk about. And guess what? Football actually starts. Real football, not rubbish transfer news. Football's going to start in a week and a half. I can't wait. So actually talking about formations and how we line up is very, very exciting. So drop us a like, get involved, give us your comments. If you're new, subscribe, bottom right hand corner. What about Pereira, says Summer Breeze? Well, I don't think Pereira's done enough to get himself into the starting lineup. I think what Pereira needs to do this season, he's had a good pre-season. He had a good season on loan last year. What he needs to do is get himself on the bench. First few games of the season, start getting half an hour, and then be so good in them opportunities that he forces himself into the team. But you know, I can whiz through all three of these. Would you start Pereira over anybody there? Well, probably Lingard, I would. But, you know, let's be fair, he likes Lingard. But he's not going to get in ahead of Herrera, Matic and Pogba. Would you start Pereira there? Well, he's not better than Mkhitaryan, so no. Would you start Pereira in there? No, again, Herrera, Matic, Pogba, Mkhitaryan, he's not a wing-back. So that is the problem that Pereira faces. It's not that I love Pereira and I think he'll be a great player for United, but he's going to have to wait for his opportunity. The big thing is that he is going to be, but the sounds of it out of Manchester United are very positive that he will be given that opportunity. And that could be an injury, it could be a suspension, it could be resting other players. Pereira's got to wait for his opportunity. He needs to get plenty of opportunities. Junaid Ahmed says Danny Rose as left wing back. I've heard that. That's not the first time I've heard that today. Paul, it's not a Skype show tonight. It's not a Skype show tonight. I can't do Skype tonight. Sorry. We will do it though. We'll probably do it tomorrow or Saturday. What's happening with Aurier, says Kazadi. Well, Aurier again. If we sign Aurier, where does he fit into the team? Can he play as a left back? Even I don't. I can't answer that. I've always known him as a right-sided player, but can he play as a left back? Harry Law says Ashley Young as a left wing back. Again, Ashley Young as the left wing back for me in that 3-5-2 formation is better than Darmian and Blind because he can get forward. And he's got the pace and he's got the attacking ability, but he can get back. But I don't think Mourinho would like him there because he's quite small. I mean, the one he wants is Perisic, and it's a shame we didn't get Perisic because I think we definitely would be playing the 3-5-2. But there's a chance we'll do it anyway. Bobby Joe says in the 3-5-2 and 4-3-3, our first back for a midfielder is Fellaini, and in the 4-2-3-1, our first backup for a centre midfielder is Herrera. Good point. That's a good point. And I think what he's talking about there is, in this formation, your backup midfielder is Herrera. In this formation, your backup midfielder is Fellaini. We must face that. You know, whatever you think about United's season ahead, Fellaini isn't going anywhere. And if Matic, Herrera or Pogba come off in that midfield area, Fellaini comes on. Not Pereira. I'd say Fellaini is the first choice midfielder at the moment. Nesta Calderon says, do you think we'll see Jose play Lukaku as much as he did Zlatan last season? I do. Yeah, I do. I think Lukaku will play most games. And to be honest with you, I'm happy with that. I know Lukaku hasn't scored for a couple of games, but Lukaku will score goals in a United shirt. But I'm not judging him on that alone. Lukaku, what I like about him is the way he stretches defenders, the way he creates space for people like Mkhitaryan and the midfielders and the wingers, because they're terrified of him. He's a beast. He's also quick, and he moves defenders out of positions that Zlatan just couldn't do because they weren't scared of Zlatan's pace. So I think Lukaku, if he's fit, should play every game because of what he'll bring to the team. Please drop a like on the video. We're trying to get to 1,000. Lots of people watching. 3,000 people watching. Drop us a like. Let's get 1,000 whilst we're live on air. Shane Great 101 says this is the best channel in the world. Thanks for that. In fact, just a bit of news. You might like this news. We passed 100,000 subscribers about a month ago. When you get 100,000 subscribers, you're meant to get a YouTube silver play button. We've not heard anything. Yesterday we did. So we've given them the delivery details. It takes 6 to 8 weeks, but the minute we get that, we'll obviously celebrate and show you that, because it is yours as much as it is ours. United Stand is your channel and always will be. Mark, before we bought him, you said he was a flat track bully. Eric. Oh yeah, about Lukaku. Yes I did. I did say that. In the sense that he is a flat track bully. Lukaku's CV is flat track bully. He's come to Manchester United, and Mourinho's brought him to Manchester United because he thinks he can turn him into a full-time bully, and I hope that's true. But Lukaku is a flat track bully. He scores a lot of goals. He scored a lot of goals last season when Everton were already winning against lesser sides in the Premier League. But Manchester United didn't score goals against the lesser side, so already that is admirable. I've always been quite open that Lukaku wasn't my first choice striker. I don't think he was even in my top 5. I'd be surprised if he was in anyone's top 5 when you think about some of the players we were linked to, Aubameyang and a few others. But what has encouraged me about Lukaku is I never thought Mourinho would sign him. I thought he knew all about him at Chelsea and he sold him. I didn't think Mourinho would do it. And when he did, and as with Matic, I didn't want Matic, but I've been very consistent about both. If Mourinho signs them, I love Mourinho and I'm a Manchester United fan. And when somebody signs for my club, then whatever my thoughts are, I'm going to give them a chance. I'm not somebody who starts hating on a player the minute they sign. Even Fellaini, I gave him a chance. And I didn't want to sign. Fellaini's the worst player we've ever signed in my career as a Manchester United fan, spanning over 30 years. I just didn't want him. But I gave him a chance. I think with Matic, my fear has always been, is he on the decline? He had a bad season 2 years ago, and last year he had Kante with him, which I think can be quite deceptive when you think Danny Drinkwater was supposed to be one of the best midfielders 2 years ago, and he had Kante with him. Kante disappears and Drinkwater's bang average. But I was encouraged by Matic last night, and ultimately, Mourinho's paid a lot of money to be our manager. Mourinho knows more about football than me and you and everybody else. He's a fantastic manager. He's the best manager in the world as far as I'm concerned. If he thinks Lukaku and Matic are the right people, I can have my doubts, you can have your doubts. And if we're proved right, well, pat on the back to us. But to be honest, I want to be proved wrong. Because if I'm proved wrong, Manchester United win titles and my continued insistence that Mourinho is the best continues. I don't want to be right on this. I want Mourinho to be right. So Lukaku, yes, he is a flat track bully, but to be fair, Lukaku is young enough to be turned into a full-time bully, like I say, and Mourinho obviously believes he can be. So yeah, and that flat track bully might help us. West Ham at home, opening game of the season. I'm sure we drew against West Ham last season. I think they were one of the frustrating games, like Burnley and Hull and everybody else at home. So it's the perfect first game for us because that's the sort of game last season that we didn't win. We drew. So, yeah, definitely. No Kleberson and sacked if they don't win the title. I think Guardiola should be sacked if they don't win the title, says Glenn Richards. I predicted it months ago. Guardiola will be sacked next summer. I think he will. And I wouldn't be surprised if Klopp was gone either. Although they seem to be so in love with him, he probably could get them relegated and say he'll win the league next year. PSG basically have confirmed Neymar, not bothered. Rest in peace, Neymar, your career's dead. Would you ever see Depay as a possible suitor for the left wing back role? Strong and pacey with bags of talent, says Liam Murphy. I don't know whether that's a joke, Liam, so I'll answer it right. I wouldn't. The only left back position Memphis should play is left back in the changing room. Just again, a bit like what Neymar's gone to do, play in a pub league in France. It's I don't care what he does there, and I don't think he set the world on fire there anyway. I know he scored a goal from the halfway line, but I can't see Memphis doing anything with his career of any note now. Lukaku, Mark, if we buy Bale, Perisic, where would they fit in a 3-5-2? Good question from Abdul. No, it wasn't Abdul, it was Shazwat. So Perisic would go where Darmian is if we signed Perisic, and that would make us very, very balanced. And Bale, I think, would probably go where Mkhitaryan is, which, again, might be a reason for people to, in the whole Perisic or Bale debate, I think Bale's the better player, but in relation to that formation and what we're trying to achieve, is Bale in for Mkhitaryan, does that solve the problem down the left-hand side? No, it doesn't. If you bring Perisic in, we've got Mkhitaryan in that position, and we've got balance down the left. So I can totally understand people who would go Bale or Perisic, but there you go. Right, I can't believe Neymar has joined PSG. Football is dying, says Tyrone. It's one to watch. It's certainly one to watch. Simon Mellon says, please read my comment, which I just have, but I don't know what your comment was. And Priest Puncher says we're not getting Bale. Right, one thing I didn't do, which I apologise, is we've got a poll for which formation you would go with. Would you go with formation 1? Would you go with formation 2? Or would you go with formation 3? Now, how do you vote? You vote by clicking the eye in the top right hand corner that I actually haven't put up at the moment. I'm just going to chat away to you because I think I can do it whilst we're live. I believe in myself that I can do it. And while I'm talking about, while I have just got your attention while I set that poll up, because I'm sure I can do it live. I can. You're in luck. So we'll have the poll up for you in a matter of moments. Which formation would you pick? 4-3-3, 4-4-2, or 3-5-2. It's not up yet, so you can't vote. It's a bit like a call in this. I like it. So option 1, I'll go for it. Option 2. Thanks for bearing with me on this. But it will make it worthwhile. So we've created that card. And I'll come back. Get back to you. Come back to what you know. Take everything real slow. I wanna hold you, but I can't let you go. Bit of Morrissey. Oh, Morrissey. I'm so happy, but I'm sad. I don't know why, but I am, and I sing like this. And it's Friday tomorrow. And I lost it. Yeah, I've got it up. The eye is in the top corner now, so you can vote because I've just clicked it and I've cast my vote. So the eye is in the top right hand corner. So vote for option 1, which is the traditional 4-3-3. Option 2, which is the adapted 4-4-2, which brings Mkhitaryan in as a number 10. Or option 3, which has the 3-5-2. Cast your votes. Eyes in the top corner. Cobb Ross Aikins makes a contribution. He says more blame needs to be placed on players, not just Ed. Matic wanted a move and forced it. Perisic isn't willing to hand in a transfer request and lose bonuses. That's a good point by Cobb Ross. Mourinho wasn't backwards in coming forward in telling us that, you know, Matic forced to train on a loan but forced to move to United because he wanted to come to United. Again, I think Morata failed on that part, and I also think Perisic did as well. If you're not seeing the option to vote, just close your video and come back into it and you should see it, because I did that and I can see it in the top right hand corner. It's the eye. If you're on a mobile, it might not work. I don't know. Some people tell me it does. I don't know. We're very close to 1,000 likes. I've really enjoyed tonight's show. That's what I want to say to you. It's been a personal enjoyment ride. sounds wrong, but it has been. It has been a real. I'm going to do more of Morrissey when I get him right. People who don't know who Morrissey is thinking, what is this weirdo doing? But no, I'm so glad that we've had that little moment of not really any breaking United transfer news, because we've had it constant for 3 months, and I've been wanting to do this for so long. Manchester United's potential lineup, looking at the formations, because that is what matters. It's the football that matters. It's the football that matters. Lloyd says, let's save some cash for next summer and get better value for money. Good point in relation to transfers. What else did I want to say? Yes, a lot of you have been asking me about fantasy football. We do have a fantasy football league. I told you about this a few weeks ago. We're doing it through the Telegraph. The link is in the video description. There's a league code and a pin. The reason we're not doing Fantasy Premier League is because I'm fed up of it. I think it's so repetitive and boring, and I prefer the Telegraph system. I've always done it. I've done it for about, God, it's been around for, well, maybe, I think Telegraph was the first one to do it. I was about 11, so, you know, a good couple of decades. There's a league code and a pin. There is an entry fee, but that's because there's so many brilliant prizes to be given away. And also it means no spammers, no wallies getting involved. So it will be a proper United Stand community. I'm going to do a little bit more on it on the next week, showing you sort of how it works and my team and everything like that. But there's a little live chat thing that's open 24 hours on that as well. So once you've signed up, you're in there. It's a good community and we have a good laugh in there. So links in the video description for Fantasy Football if you're one of those people who like that. But thanks everybody. Really, you know, sometimes this channel is this channel is always about you, but I've got to say from the bottom of my heart that this video tonight really has been my love, my Mark Goldbridge little project, because I've wanted to do it for so long. I've had it waiting for so long. So thanks for everybody for putting up with me and doing it. Over 3,000 of you've done that, so thank you very much. Really enjoyed going through the formations, because that's where my passion is really. I like looking at formations and the tactical side of things. So really thankful for that. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to cast your vote. If you fancy a go on the Fantasy Football, get yourself signed up. Links in the video description. Cobb Ross Aikins again says, can we add 4-2-3-1 option and leave the poll open? I'll add it in there for you, Cobb. Thanks for the contribution. I will add it in there. I haven't done a screen of that one, but we will add it in there for you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. If anything breaks later, we'll go live. Maybe it will. Sometimes it does at 10:30. I suspect it'll be around Bale, but, you know. If not, I'm back tomorrow morning with another transfer show. But nice to have a little break from it. Remember, it's football that we're here to support and love. We've had 3 months of transfers. Let's start getting our mindset into football, formation, tactics, and how we're going to play. Thanks for watching. Give your comments below. Cast your vote. If you've not watched live or you have watched live, come back. Leave your comments below. I want to read some formation stuff and tactics stuff. That's where I really get excited. So do that. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. Fantastic community. And I'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching.